Hi, I'm Mr. Mendoza, a second grade teacher at Where Du Bois Charter Academy. Hope that you enjoy this reading on Where Fireflies Dance. Ahí donde bailan las luciérnagas by Lucha Corpi, and the illustrator is Myra Raisberg. Where Fireflies Dance. Long ago, in the small town of Jaltipan, in tropical Mexico, Juan Sebastian left home to fight in the Mexican Revolution. That was his destiny. Years later, young Lucha and her brother Victor sneak into the house, which people say is haunted by Juan Sebastian's ghost. In her first book for children, award-winning author Lucha Corpi remembers her childhood growing up in Jaltipan, where the moon hung low and the fireflies flickered in the night air. In vivid and poetic detail, she recalls exploring the old haunted house of Juan Sebastian with her brother, discovering the music that came from the jukebox at the local cantina, and getting caught up by their mother for their mischievous adventures. Most of all, she remembers the ballads her father sang and the stories her grandmothers had told. Instilled with the love of music and stories and the inspiration to find her destiny, Lucha, like Juan Sebastian, eventually left home to do what she was born to do, become a writer. Where Fireflies Dance is Lucha Corpi's warm, nostalgic look at home and family love. If you have a book, it has this. You can read about what the entire book. This is a brief summary of what the book is going to be about. A lot of books have that. Where fireflies dance. Ahí donde bailan las luciérnagas. The moon hung low above the haunted house, making the white walls gleam in the night. Flickering fireflies danced in the night air. They were the bright spirits of travelers who had died long ago, my grandmother told us. At night, their lights showed us the way and kept us from danger. Come on, I've been here before and I haven't seen a ghost yet, my brother Victor said. My heart began to beat faster. I'd never seen a ghost, and I was sure I didn't want to meet one, especially the ghost of Juan Sebastian, the revolutionary. I think she was scared of ghosts. Hmm. Could it just be an illustrator drawing a ghost or an actual ghost? Long ago, Juan Sebastian had lived in that house in Jaltipan, the small tropical town in Mexico where Victor and I grew up. People in our town swore that when the moon was full, they saw Juan Sebastian's ghost riding his horse down the main street. He was looking for his house, they said, when they saw kitchen fire suddenly flare up for no reason at all. They said it was the ghost of his mother cooking his supper. No one wanted to live there. I was scared, but I followed my older brother into the haunted house. They're a little mischievous and adventurous at the same time. Hmm. Does it look haunted? Moonlight trickled through the big holes in the roof. The wind sizzled as it moved through the old dry hatch. When I looked around, Victor was gone. My legs were shaking, but I stood in place, holding my breath. I breathed again when he came back a few moments later, holding a lighted candle. This is Juan Sebastian and his General Zapata, he said. He held the candle up to an altar where two old photos stood side by side next to a faded Mexican flag. In one of the photos, Juan Sebastian was playing a guitar and singing. I was happy he liked to sing because I liked singing too. Still in the house. Victor and I looked at everything in the house. Then we looked at the moon through the big hole, through a big hole. That's when we heard it. The sound of music, loud and clear. Someone was singing. Juan Sebastian! I asked aloud as I felt something brush against my arm. My skin felt like 1,000 ants were crawling all over it. I shivered, but an instant later, I discovered it was only my brother's hand and tugging on my sleeve. Let's go, he said. I guess he was a little scared. I'd be scared too. Looks like they're running somewhere. We ran out of the haunted house. We didn't even stop to watch the fireflies dancing in the moonlight. We followed the stream of music to the cantina. Cuatro Cañas. My mother had told us never to go into that place, so we stood outside the swinging doors of the bar, listening. Our favorite song played 3 times in a row. Since we didn't hear the voice of the announcer, we knew the music wasn't coming from a radio. Curious, Victor and I peeked through the window. There it was, a big, brand new music box. We'd never seen anything like it before. Give me 5 20-cent coins for the jukebox, a man said to the bartender, handing him a peso bill. Then the man put the 5 coins into the box and pressed the button 5 times. The same song played 5 times, one right after the other. I like this music box, I said. It's a jukebox. That's what the man called it, my brother said. We watched and listened in awe. They're enjoying the music from outside of the cantina. For the next few days, Victor and I saved the 20-cent coins my mother gave us for candy. Every evening after doing our homework, we went to the cantina Cuatro Cañas. We waited outside until we saw someone going into the bar. Then we gave him our coins and the names of the songs we wanted to hear. Outside the door, we listened and sang along to our heart's content. Yes, they were really happy. Happy for the music. Music is beautiful. One evening, rain came suddenly, as it did many times in Jaltipan. We got wet, but we still went to the bar. We were so involved in the singing, we didn't see our mother until she was standing right in front of us. I gasped for breath. I told you never to come here. Look at you. You're all wet, she said, more worried than angry. But we knew we were in trouble. For a week, we were not to leave the house in the evening, she told us. Rules are rules, my father said when he talked to us about our musical adventure. She caught him in the act. He didn't sound very upset. Grandma and Mom in the kitchen. The following afternoon, Victor and I sat on the steps leading down to the yard. A flock of parrots on their way home flew over our heads like a green flash. When shadows grew longer, we joined our grandmother in the kitchen for supper. Then she told us stories while she braided her hair beside the old wood stove. She told us funny stories and love stories. My grandmother had known Juan Sebastian and his family, so I asked her to tell us his story. I guess Grandma's ready to tell a story. On the night of the new moon during the Mexican Revolution, Juan Sebastian left town to join the forces of Emiliano Zapata. General Zapata was in charge of the Revolutionary Army in southern Mexico. Juan Sebastian took a family photo with him. He left behind a note to his parents that said, "Please forgive me. This is my destiny, to fight for land and liberty. I promise I'll be back, dead or alive." But he never came back. Heartbroken, one day his mother died, then his father. Only the fireflies were left to light the way home for Juan Sebastian. That must have been sad for his parents. What does destiny mean? I asked my grandmother when she finished. Your destiny is doing what you were born to do, she told me. Everyone has a destiny, she added, but some people never find it. I thought about what she said. Juan Sebastian died fighting so that the people of Mexico could have land and freedom. He found his destiny. I promised myself that I too would find mine someday. I guess in the beginning, he told us that her destiny was to write. What's Dad doing now? They look really happy with him. That night, Victor and I were getting ready for bed when my mother came home from work. We knew he was tired and hungry, but he didn't have his supper. Instead, he sat between my brother and I and me on the wicker sofa. He put his arms around us and asked, "What are your favorite songs?" We gave him the names of the songs we liked most. Then he began to sing them for us. He had a beautiful voice, and I closed my eyes to enjoy his singing better. I didn't sing long. Cuddled in his arms, I just listened until I drifted into sleep. That must be pretty nice. Every night, my father sang to my brother and me to the songs we liked. He added a few others he liked. He sang Mexican songs and Argentinian tangos. He sang Spanish ballads and pasodobles, bullfighting songs. He sang children's songs and songs of love. Then he sang a corrido a ballad about Juan Sebastian written by a songwriter in town. Every night I fell asleep to the sound of my father's voice. I dreamed of fireflies dancing in the night, and I felt happy and safe. She looks snug in that illustration. Over the years, I never forgot the story of Juan Sebastian. One day, like him, I also left town to find what I was born to do. Victor stayed, perhaps because that was his destiny. I traveled north, carrying in me the memory of the fireflies dancing in the night air. I also took with me my family photos, my grandfather's stories, and my father's songs. One day, I began to write stories, and I knew I had found my destiny. She became a writer. She had a goal. She worked hard for it. I guess that's her and Raby. Now I live in California, far away from that small town where I learned about music and family love. Every night I sing to my young son Arturo, and I tell him stories. Sometimes, in winter, I hear the murmur of the soft rain come suddenly in the night. I close my eyes, I see the old haunted house and the jukebox in the cantina, Cuatro Cañas. I hear my father singing and my brother's laughter. I see my grandmother braiding her hair beside the old wood stove, telling us the story of Juan Sebastian. I watch the fireflies flicker and dance in the nights of my dreams. A bit more about the author. If you get a chance and you want to, you can pause it and read it. Here's a picture of the author with some information, and a picture of the illustrator with some information. Thank you for joining me on this read aloud.